If you compare beer with bratwurst,
And cheese with wine.
or even whiskey,
With donuts.
then we think you can pair all of these delicious drinks with
Murder.
conspiracies
Missing persons.
and more.
Drink with us as you feed your craving for true crime and creepy stories.
Let's go.
Do it.
Okay. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. It's getting close to Halloween. So there's festivities in the air, and that makes me excited.
Yeah, we're big Halloween people in this
Yes.
family. We got the whole place decorated.
Yes.
Lots of stuff in the yard.
Scary movies every night.
Yep, every night. What did we watch last night?
The Ninth Gate.
Oh, yes. The Ninth Gate.
Good old
good
Johnny
one.
Depp.
Yep. Good old Johnny Depp doing his thing back in the day, smoking a cigarette every single scene.
I think that's how he lives his life.
I think so too, but it was way cooler back then.
Yeah, before we knew.
Yeah.
Before we knew
just
the negative carcinogenic
Yeah.
consequences.
Yep. Now we're just waiting for him to go out like Patrick Swayze.
Oh, geez, what
Sorry.
a downer.
Sorry,
It's a
too
good thing
soon.
you have your Slimer shirt on.
I do. I've got my Slimer shirt on because guess what? This is our Halloween podcast.
Yes.
Super excited.
Something wicked this way comes. Watch out.
And you have a fun shirt on too.
I do.
Your friend's shirt.
Yes,
Except
but
it's not Monica and Ross.
No, and our son walked up to me right before, and he could name every single silhouette.
Yeah,
He's like Pennywise.
He takes after his
Leatherface.
dad like that. He likes the macabre
He
even at
does.
a young age. It's because it all looks cool.
Hopefully that's all it is. We're not raising baby Jeffrey Dahmer or something.
It turned out all right. I think he'll be just fine.
He will.
That'll make him creative and artistic and
Interesting.
interesting.
He
Anyway.
will absolutely be interesting. So what are we drinking?
All right, today.
Crisp fall night.
Yep. So our first drink is going to be from a brewery not too far from here called Four Noses.
Mm-hmm.
And this is their, I'm guessing, limited edition, but their seasonal one for Halloween or the season. And it's called Pump Action Imperial Pumpkin Ale. It's
Well,
technically,
I see what they did there.
yeah, it's technically an IPA too, but it's Imperial
Oh.
Pumpkin Ale.
Let's see then.
Imperial Pumpkin Ale. So yeah, it's got this cool picture on there.
I love all things pumpkin,
But
and I
dude-
hate all things IPA. So
It's not an actual IPA. It's
that is cute.
well, yeah. I don't think. I mean, we'll see.
He's got
Because IPA stands for in.
action rifle shooting out pumpkins and leaves.
Yep.
Okay.
But so you know, an IPA is an Indian Pale Ale, and this is an Imperial Pumpkin Ale. So
Oh, it's a play on words.
yes, I think so.
Well,
And
we shall be
Imperial
the
Ale, I
judge.
believe, is something as well. It's pretty good.
It's like the subtlest hint of pumpkin. Like if you want to feel like you're a part of the season, but you don't actually like pumpkin, you could drink this and pretend. I don't taste pumpkin. I taste spice. I don't taste pumpkin spice.
Huh. Because I get more, I'm definitely tasting pumpkin, but now that you say the spice, there's a bit of a nutmeg or something in there.
Huh. I'm confused by the entire thing.
Pumpkin pie. So there probably is nutmeg, autumn spices, amber malt.
I definitely sense the malt. Like it's a little thick, not syrupy, but like borders up upon syrupy. Just thicker in as it rolls around.
Yep.
I don't know about this one.
I
I think lots of people would like it. I don't think I'm lots of people.
Yeah. Are you much of the pumpkin spice flavor getting? I feel like you get
Once
like
a year.
one time,
Just
and you only get it
just
like
to pretend.
once.
Yep, once a year.
Yeah.
I will get a PSL just so I can say that I've done it, and like maybe that year I've changed as a human being. and most years I haven't.
Did you get one this year?
I haven't yet, no. I haven't been to Starbucks in a long time.
Maybe if you don't, then you will change as a human being.
Yeah, I don't know about it. I just don't know.
This can be your SPL.
SPL.
Oh, sorry. PSL. Didn't I think you said it that way
No,
too?
I didn't.
No,
I said it correctly.
My bad. I thought I was copying you.
Yeah, this is my PSL. I will drink it so I can be a part of the cool kids club, and then I will move on and spite myself for having consumed it all.
I like it. Now hearing you say it again, you did say PSL. My bad. But I don't know. My mind's not made up.
I don't know.
I think if I like it, it's not gonna be like. I won't drink like 4 of these in a row.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Well, it depends on where I'm at.
I was like a bowl of chili, some Fritos, and 4 of these. I think you would be just fine.
And some football.
And some football.
Maybe. I think I'd get a little tired of it, but 1 or 2 here and there, yeah, I could do it. Oh, we're gonna have to get our magazines out so these don't clank on the table.
They're not even Foster's cans, and they're making so much noise.
Yeah, I think it's our new mic arms.
No, I'm going to continue to consume it. Maybe it'll taste better with a telling of a triple homicide.
Ooh, that's 3.
See, good job. 1, 2, 3, and we're off. So on the evening of October 30th, 2010, William, who goes by Bill Liskey, his son BJ, who is 24 years old, and Bill's wife, BJ's stepmom, Susan, enjoyed an evening with neighborhood friends in what could be described as a very chill pre-Halloween get-together. The group, which include neighbor Mark Gradle, drank some beer, possibly pumpkin beer, and according to Gradle, everything went well that evening. So Susan's own sons from her previous marriage, Derek, who is 23, and Devin, who is 16, were not in attendance at that neighborhood get-together. Devin was actually with his father that weekend, and Derek, who despite still living at home with Susan and his stepfather Bill, chose not to join in on the fun. This neighborhood get-together ended around midnight. BJ was not actually living at home during this time, but since both Susan and Bill had had a few alcoholic beverages, neither wanted to drive BJ home. So a bed was made on the sofa for BJ, and the 3 turned in for that Halloween night. Leading up to that pre-Halloween get-together, Bill had actually taken a week off of work so that he and his son BJ could go on a hunting trip. The 2 stayed at a cabin, which was located about 170 miles away, which was owned by a Liskey family member. They had returned not 24 hours before the neighborhood hangout. The next morning, 16-year-old Devin, who had been at his father's home, if you'll recall, headed out to church, where he was going to sing in the choir during the morning service. Before getting to church, he decided to stop by his mother's house in order to change his shirt. The Liskey family home was located in the more rural area of Benton Township, Ohio. This somewhat isolated home sat on about 100 acres of land. There, Devin saw his stepbrother BJ loading items into Bill's truck, and the 2 exchanged what was described as pleasant conversation. BJ seemed to be upbeat. He asked Devin what he was up to and how long he would be hanging out at the house. Then Devin ran into the home, changed his shirt, and headed off to church. After church, Devin returned home to his mom's house, mentally noting that his mom's car was parked in the driveway. Then he headed up to his room to do what every 16-year-old boy looks forward to doing alone in his bedroom, and that is play video games.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Well, he played video games. At around 1:30 that afternoon, Devin began to wonder why the rest of the house was remaining so quiet. He knew that his parents liked to sleep in, but surely someone would be up and moving around by now. There was something about the silent house that felt off to this young man. So Devin got up and, leaving his bedroom, made his way through the silent house toward his mom and Bill's bedroom. Upon opening the door, Devin was a little surprised to see that both his mom and stepdad were laying utterly still on the bed. After verbally questioning his mom in an effort to rouse her, but getting no answer, Devin timidly took one step forward. It might have been at this point that the idea that this whole situation was some elaborate Halloween prank began to manifest in Devin's teenage mind. As Devin walked closer, he noticed one small foot sticking out from beneath his parents' maroon comforter blanket. In an attempt to get some response from his mom, Devin touched the foot. He tapped his mother's foot as he spoke to her again, this time wondering if the couple had actually gotten sick, and that was the explanation for his parents' continued lethargy.
What time is this in the day?
1:30 p.m. When this failed to solicit a response from either Susan or Bill, Devin tentatively began pulling the blanket down. As the blanket slowly inched down away from the head of the bed, a pillowcase soaked in blood was revealed. Immediately, in what must have been shock, Devin truly wondered whether or not the bizarre scene before his eyes was somehow connected to a Halloween prank. But once the blanket had traveled enough that the bodies of both his mom and Bill were revealed, there was no mistaking the grisly remnants of a brutal attack for some Halloween-inspired joke. Devin, now in complete shock, ran from his parents' room, crying and screaming. Once outside, Devin's first call was to his Aunt Lori Morse, who then called 911. Out of concern, Lori had actually made 2 calls of her own to the Liskey home that morning. Susan's older son, Derek, who worked with Lori's husband, had not shown up for work. His absence was an early sign that something was amiss at the Liskey home. When police arrived, the first thing they noticed was that there were no obvious signs of a struggle. They then noticed that there were some suspicious, muddy footprints found on the back deck, and that the white Ford F-150, which was the vehicle Bill drove, was missing from the property. Inside the home, you have something.
What time? I'm very caught up in this, the story right now. So I don't want to interrupt you too much, but just so I have it in my own head, timeline-wise, what time did he go there before his church boy choir practice?
I don't know the specific time.
Oh.
There's going to be a point in time where I tell you something happened, and it might give you context for like the following events.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's like 8:30 or 9 o'clock that he swings by his home to put on an appropriate shirt.
It was about 1:30 when he came home.
No, that was when he felt like he should search his home because
so
he
he'd
didn't
been
hear
there
anything.
for a bit.
Yeah, I would say like lunchtime. So I grew up in a Baptist church, and we were home at like 12.
Was it a Baptist church?
I didn't say. But you're home by 12. You eat your delicious like afternoon meal, and then you play video games until 1:30. So I bet he was home.
Oh, yeah, he played video games. So he could have, it could have been like an early practice.
11:30, 12:30.
Like,
why is it so quiet?
I'm usually interrupted by mom by now.
Yeah. When police arrived, the first thing they noticed was that there were no obvious signs of a struggle. They also noticed that there were some suspicious muddy footprints found on the back deck, and that the white Ford F-150, which was the vehicle Bill drove, was missing from the property. Inside the home, officers confirmed that both Bill and Susan were deceased, most likely killed while they slept in their bed. While searching the rest of the home, officers located a locked door. In search of more victims, or perhaps the killer themselves, officers were forced to kick this locked door in. This room belonged to 23-year-old Derek, which is Susan's son from her first marriage. Here, they found Derek Griffin's body laying in his bed with evidence of significant trauma to his head. Also found in this bedroom was a claw hammer with blood staining both ends of the tool. It would be determined that Derek's cause of death was bludgeoning. The cause of death for Bill and Susan was not the same as Derek's. Early on, police theorized that Derek would have been the first victim, and the perpetrator must have known that this first killing had to be quiet so as not to wake the other members of the household. And this brings me to my first question. What time would Derek have to have been killed for the perpetrator to think he must lock the door in order for Derek's body not to be found, and whatever plan that they had to follow would have been spoiled? Like, it's after midnight. Why did
How do you know it's after midnight?
Because the party ended at midnight.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So why did the killer lock a dead person's door? It's not like Derek's going to get up and walk away.
How old is Derek?
He is 23.
Oh, man.
Or 24.
Yeah, so...
Ish.
Yeah, I say oh, man, just because still living mom and pa's
Where
house.
were you at 23, 24?
I'd rather not answer that. I played fifth. So...
Why was the door locked?
It makes sense if that happened between, I mean, he's 24. It's Saturday? Friday?
It's Saturday. Right now it's Sunday. So
I guess it
Halloween
doesn't matter.
That year was on a Sunday.
I was asking that
it's the
because
AM
I was
hours
wondering.
of Halloween Sunday morning.
I was wondering what the like day of the week was for work days, but at 23 that probably doesn't matter. He could be working any day of the week.
He didn't lock the door, Jace. A perpetrator came in, murdered him, and felt it necessary to lock this dude's door.
I think that would indicate that they know him, and they know the family, because they don't want those that are not at the house yet to come in and find the body right away. So they lock the door so that when those that are not there, they go to the bedroom, door's locked. Oh, he must be asleep.
So what's the perpetrator doing between killing Derek? He's obviously locking the door so nobody walks in and sees Derek's body. So what the heck is the perpetrator doing in the home where he's worried, like, nobody can wake up and check on Derek and see that I've murdered him? It's the locked door that just, like, boggles my mind. I don't understand it.
Well, now that you say all that.
Like, what the heck is he doing that he doesn't want anybody to walk into Derek's bedroom? Or maybe Derek was the only intended victim at first.
I was just thinking about Derek, and I wasn't thinking about the fact that...
He or she didn't want Derek's body found until the perpetrator could get away. Why would you lock the bedroom door if you're just going to go over and kill Derek's parents? Why?
I don't know. This is... I was just thinking about Derek and the door. I wasn't thinking outside of that at all.
No,
you also said what time.
And every other person in the house, why do you have to lock Derek's door?
But that makes me think that somebody changed their mind about the other people in the house, which, like I said, I think it's somebody that knows the family.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to think of what it's not
why
like,
would
well,
you?
all right. here's the thing. I guess the only way it wouldn't be somebody that knew them or very well anyway. Maybe knew like, okay, parents are out. I don't want them finding this because I need to get out of here and out of the city or whatever. If when they were leaving, parents came home and like caught the person right away,
Like it
he
was
kills
interrupted
them.
attack.
Yep.
Gotcha.
He kills them, then makes it look like they're sleeping in bed,
Okay.
which would be hard because there was obviously blood-soaked pillows.
Well, that's...
So, yeah, anyway.
So the police believe that the perpetrator, after bludgeoning Derek, went into Bill and Susan's bedroom. Here, the perpetrator shot Bill 4 or 5 times with a .22 caliber rifle. After killing Bill...
Where?
In his head. After killing Bill, the perpetrator then attacked Susan. It was determined that Susan was actually sexually assaulted before she too was shot multiple times. A defensive wound was determined to be found in her hand, which made the investigators pretty confident that out of all the victims, Susan was probably awake when she was attacked.
Huh. Sexually assaulted before she was killed. Were there say anything about like fighting?
Her defensive wound in her hand.
Defensive wounds.
Yep.
Just in her hand?
I think she put her hand up to block the gunshot.
Huh.
Now,
You would just think with sexual assault before maybe she was knocked out, I guess.
I don't know. If I was half asleep, perhaps by the time I woke up, like all I could do was like stick my hands up. You know what I mean? Well, I would be a badass.
Yeah,
So never mind.
I don't think anybody could sexually assault you.
Nobody's
and
coming at
You
this.
just don't find them off because I'm so tired.
No, I'm pretty tired.
I don't think so. Yeah, that's the sexual assault thing is kind of weird that there's not more defensive like marks. You know, like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Usually in those cases, the woman's
Bruising,
fighting. Yep.
stuff like that.
Yep.
As police quickly tried to piece together what they could to determine what might have happened to this family in the early hours of Halloween, Michelle Gradle, who is the wife to Mark, who we heard from earlier, reported she actually heard what she at that point believed to be gunshots at around 6:30 a.m. Immediately, police speculated that the weapon, this .22 caliber rifle, could have been disposed of in a pond located behind the home due to those muddy footprints they found on the deck.
Did you say the home was on 100 acres?
100 acres.
That's
super rural.
Giant property.
Well, police drained the pond, and despite employing weapon-sniffing dogs, which I didn't even know existed.
I also didn't drain the pond.
Yeah, police are just like, this will happen, this will happen.
Pull the plug, boys. Let's let her drain.
Well, despite those like serious like skills, no weapon was actually found.
Oh, not much skills then. They're like, the gun has to be in here.
It wasn't.
I don't know why I went to my 1930s talk there.
You're still hunting the Mad Butcher. It's
Still
okay.
hunting. That Mad Butcher's going to make me go mad.
Well, very early on in the investigation, strange stories about pets in the neighborhood being tortured and killed began to surface. In fact, Mark Gradle's own dog had been shot twice with a .22 caliber set of bullets. And as information about these attacks were revealed, each neighbor gave the same name as the suspected animal attacker. And it was none other than B.J. Liskey himself. Now, the production of BJ's name was not as surprising to police as you or I might think. For one, when Devin described his stepbrother's upbeat attitude that Halloween morning, he actually described it as very, very strange. You see, BJ didn't interact with his brothers in a friendly manner. And the reason Derek, the older Griffin child, did not attend the party that evening was because he and BJ did not get along, like at all.
Oh. Okay. What was BJ's relationship with him? Just kind of not much of anything but stepbrothers?
Well, BJ's struggles first began when his parents got divorced. His behavioral problems started very small. He would skip school. But they quickly escalated when Bill, his father, married Susan, his stepmother, in 2001. Susan tried to bring order to the Liskey household, and that seemed to upset BJ. It upset BJ very, very much.
I'm sorry, but when you're telling a story and you say all the names, just by my gut, I don't think it's BJ. That's not the name of someone that murders 3
All
people.
Right, let's keep going.
And every time you say it, I'm imagining this little boy. I don't know. BJ never grows up. You know.
Let's see.
Always
let's
a
see
boy.
Let's see what BJ is capable of.
Okay.
As early.
And it's Devin. And what's the other brother's name?
Derek is the older brother.
Derek.
His body was found
Yep.
bludgeoned.
And then Devin
is a young boy who's just singing in
just
his
singing
church
in the choir, doing
putting
his
on
best.
a good shirt.
He's
Listen, it's Halloween.
I'm
and
ready
I'm
for
ready
God's
to sing.
blessings.
And then he just plays some video games, and his entire life changes. And you're
Yeah.
like, who is responsible?
Oh, man.
So, as
Poor
early.
kid.
I want to know what he's doing right now.
2010, right?
Yeah, he's
So he's
old.
Like
I
30.
know, if you're out there.
He's like 29, 30 right now. Yeah.
Now, as early as 2002, law enforcement actually received calls from Bill Liskey about his son BJ. There was one incident when a 16-year-old BJ, after threatening to harm himself, and then a call going out to law enforcement that BJ actually attacked the officers who arrived to render support to him and the rest of the Liskey family. After that, BJ was charged in juvenile court for that attack. Then, in October of 2004, BJ had a serious fight with his stepmother, Susan. After hitting his stepmother so hard in the chest, BJ would receive multiple charges. The first was felonious assault, and the second was robbery.
What's felonious mean in an assault charge?
It's a felony level.
Oh.
Misdemeanorous
Felon
versus felonious.
Felon. No.
It was a legit assault.
Felonious. Felonious.
Yeah, because
It's right in there in the name.
Then he stole Susan's car keys. So he got felonious assault plus robbery.
Wow. Did he take the car too? Or just the keys? Grand Theft Auto wasn't on there, so I'm assuming
I think he took the keys.
Wasn't the car.
Now, these charges were actually ultimately dropped after BJ was found incompetent to stand trial. He wasn't right in the head.
He was crazy.
Well, it was after this that
But
BJ...
was he... Did they make him do anything for that?
I'm about to tell you.
Are you sure?
So it was after this that BJ spent some time at the Sandusky Group Home for Mental Health. Here, too, BJ was incapable of staying out of trouble. There would be 3 different encounters involving law enforcement. After the final encounter, when BJ got into a physical fight with police officers, that Bill, his father, had to arrive at the Sandusky home, pick BJ up, and take him back home. Now, having BJ home with the rest of the Liskey Griffin household didn't actually last very long. Bill wound up kicking BJ out of the home when he turned 18, after BJ attacked his stepmom, Susan,
again
while she was taking a shower.
What?
BJ, get it together.
What kind of attack was it? Because
Attacked. He attacked her.
it's just came in there swinging fists.
I don't know.
The psycho movie attacker.
That's what I picture. This episode of the Perfectly Paired With podcast is brought to you by J&L Professional Detail. I used to think that paying to have your car cleaned was only for the serial killers among us, looking to eliminate the evidence of their crimes. But that all changed when, as a gift, my husband hired J&L Professional Detail to clean the disaster that was my car. J&L was fast, thorough, and the results were mind-blowing. Find them on Facebook to schedule your interior or exterior service today. All right.
Well, I figure this was as good of spot as any to go ahead and have our next drink, which we won't make much of since we have two. We won't, kill the story with the drink stories.
But the theme is consistent.
Yeah. It's from a company called Rocky Mountain Cider Company. Now, just as a disclaimer, I almost said disclosure. Yeah. Disclaimer, we are not cider people at all. Neither of us like cider, hard or not.
Right.
So we're the worst judges of this. This is a pumpkin one, so it's interesting. It's got a very cool picture.
Super cool picture.
Not little, but big jack-o'-lantern looking evil with aliens inside its mouth.
Just sucking up trick-or-treaters.
Yeah, it's definitely an alien spaceship jack-o'-lantern.
Very cool.
Sucking up trick-or-treaters for the camera.
And you've said it's from the Rocky Mountain Cider Company.
Yep.
So if it's not local,
I'm guessing it's
at least in the
Colorado.
vein of local.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's give it a try.
Oh, it is really not far from us at all, from Firestone.
It's definitely cidery, which is not our favorite. But I think that the hint of pumpkin tones down that tart cider.
Oh, that's good.
Makes it mellow. And I think that's why we don't like ciders, because they're tart. They're the glands in the back of your throat pucker.
I would have never.
This isn't puckering.
No, I would have never thought of that when tasting that. I would have just been like, this tastes like a cider.
No, but it's mellow.
There
it's
is that tartness of a cider, the dryness of a cider, and this is. This isn't that. If I work super hard, maybe I kind of taste a note of pumpkin.
You don't taste pumpkin flavor. But
I'm wanting to so bad, and I'm just not. It tastes like apples. But it's a
mellow
still.
Cider.
Yeah.
It's mellow, and I like that it's mellow.
Well, it's not a mellow on the alcohol percent.
Then we better get this story going.
6%. So. All right. Let's get back to it. Sorry to interrupt you there.
That's okay.
Just figured that was a good spot.
Yeah,
as any.
It's delicious.
I was also needing a drink.
All right. Well, in February of 2006, Bill had to file for guardianship of his son BJ after having kicked him out of the home. BJ was subsequently hospitalized in 2007
Jeez Louise.
for schizoaffective disorder of the bipolar type.
So he has
significant
major things
mental
wrong
health
with him.
issues.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, it wouldn't take investigators long to actually locate BJ Liskey after leaving his former home with the bodies of his own father, stepmother, and stepbrother left inside. He loaded himself and his belongings into his father's truck and headed off back towards the same hunting cabin that he and his father had spent the week preceding this heinous act.
It just doesn't seem... Look, I know as a father, you want to do all you can for your kid. I just don't think hunting is the best thing to do with your schizo son.
Well,
Schizo bipolar, which I bet most schizos kind of have a bipolar element to them. Yeah, I wouldn't even feel comfortable doing that. Just like, you don't know what's going to happen out there, just you and him.
Yeah.
But he must have loved his son a lot and
Well,
trusted him.
now there is security camera footage of BJ buying a Subway sandwich on his way to the hunting cabin. BJ hadn't been at the hunting cabin for more than an hour when one deputy, Michael Baelish, after noticing the white truck, which matched the description of a missing vehicle,
Bills.
yeah, connected to a triple murder, spotted BJ as he stood on the porch of this cabin, leaning up against a pole, enjoying a cigarette.
Jeez.
With gun drawn, Deputy Baelish approached BJ. At the time of his arrest, there was an uneaten Subway sandwich inside the cabin. And at the time of his arrest, BJ was wearing both clothes and shoes, which displayed blood evidence still.
Wow.
In BJ's possession was a .22 caliber rifle, plus his father's cell phone and his father's wallet.
Well, this guy didn't try
At all.
at all, but he locked the door.
I don't understand him.
Maybe the door was already locked.
How did he get out of the room, Jace?
No, I mean, like maybe it was open.
How did he get into the room, Jace?
Maybe the door wasn't closed.
I don't know.
Because these like cheap bedroom door locks, they do weird things. I've had my locks do weird.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's like you kind of half unlock a door when you come out of it, and I don't know, the way the handle goes up, somehow the lock clicks back.
I don't know.
I've had one of our doors do that all the time. Like it's weird.
No.
And I know it's just the mechanics of a cheap lock.
You're calling them cheap. Nice.
Well, that lock is builder grade, so it is cheap.
Well, so at first, BJ was only arrested on one count of murder. That would have been enough to hold him in custody while investigators gathered the evidence necessary to solidify the other charges warranted by BJ's crimes. It's your notion that he's a child and BJ has like it's living in my brain.
That was a nice reprieve
BJ's crimes
of names. I was sick of hearing BJ over and over and over connected to a murder.
Well,
and not being about a child.
In the end, BJ was charged with 6 counts of aggravated murder. 3 counts for murder with prior calculation and design. So at some point, the DA or the investigators had evidence to prove that it was the intention of BJ to kill his parents and his brother that night. And then 3 counts of murder committed in the commission of an aggravated robbery. I'm assuming that's the F-150 white truck.
Aggravated robbery?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it Grand Theft Auto when you steal a vehicle?
I think that's as a connection to a murder.
Oh.
If you commit murder in connection to a felony, which I'm assuming that level of robbery is, it's first degree.
Oh, so.
But that's just like legal lessons from a layman who's just talking on a couple pumpkin beers and something called a pumpkin cider.
If at some point anybody listens to our podcast, maybe they could chime in and be like, this is what it actually means.
But if you tell me I'm wrong, we're not going to be friends.
Just at least like lead it with, Katie, that was a
you're
really good
smart.
guess.
But let me just clarify a few points. Then, if the bloody clothes, the bloody shoes, his father's wallet, his father's truck, the rifle, all those things weren't enough. In March, while speaking to his mother, While he was awaiting trial, BJ, his mom stated, "You did it. You did all of this." And those are in quotes.
His
His
real
mom. His mom says that to him.
Yeah.
To which BJ simply replied, quote, "Yes," end quote.
Yeah, bitch, I did it.
Despite the fact that BJ pleaded not guilty when first arraigned at an early pretrial meeting, BJ switched his plea. In exchange for removing the death penalty from his potential sentence, BJ pled guilty to his charges. In September of 2011, BJ was sentenced to 3 life terms with no possibility of parole. Then in March of 2015, after pleading guilty to avoid a death sentence, BJ Liskey was found dead in his cell at the Ross Correctional Institution as a result of self-inflicted wounds.
Damn. Schizophrenia is a hell of a drug.
Well, there are many questions still with regards to the Halloween slaying of 3 members of BJ's family, many of them revolving around why BJ, after enjoying a week with his father and what was described as an enjoyable evening with both his parents and their neighbors, would choose to act on whatever murderous impulses lived within him. The best explanation anyone has is the one that BJ Liskey himself gave to the judge prior to his sentencing. After apologizing for killing his father, stepmother, and stepbrother, BJ blamed his actions on 2 things. The first one was his mental illness, and the other, well, after brutally slaying 3 members of his own family in the early hours of Halloween, a holiday traditionally celebrated by people donning costumes to ward off ghosts, BJ would blame none other than Satan himself.
Of course he fucking did.
Well, happy Halloween, motherfuckers.